the community fish tank. An amazing, amazing, popular way to set up a fish tank. You can do your cichlids, you can do your goldfish, you can do whatever you want. But right now, arguably in freshwater, the most popular way to do a tank is a planted community fish tank, which is why your store probably puts so much real estate towards these kinds of fish. The loaches, the rainbows, the tetras, the barbs, the live bearers, the dwarf cichlids or nicer cichlids. It's most likely why they're doing that. But in any case, what is a community tank? A community tank is, well, pretty much whatever you make it, as long as the fish get along. In my opinion, there you can have a community of any type of person, and so you can have a community of pretty much any kind of fish. As long as everybody is being nice and cordial towards one another, there can be some picking, as there always is. But as long as, in general, the fish are working well together or meshing well together, then you've got a community. You've got Bob down the road. You got George up the street. You've got the dojo loaches that are the homeless people of the community. I'm just kidding. They're so funny, though. I love them. They're like little pigs. And they always want food. They're always asking for it in this tank. The clown loach too. He just sits there though. He waits for them to really beg for it. But in any case, when we talk about a community tank, usually there is three things. There's an algorithm, or not an algorithm. What do you call it? It's a equation that people follow to set these up. So usually you have your cleanup crew. So in this tank, that would be these guys, the dojo loaches, the Siamese alligators. We got some plecos that breed in here all the time. And then you have something that moves around. So we're talking about the schooling fish. In some tanks it's rainbows, in some tanks it's tetras. In fact, this tank over here is probably a better way to look at your schooling fish, and that is these white clouds. They're absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, in a tank, you usually will have something to create movement, something to clean up, and then your water puppy. Your display fish, the big pretty fish that when somebody walks in the room that doesn't keep fish, they're like, what is that guy right there? That's the big one that I see. They don't see all these little guys that you're excited about. They see that guy. And that, of course, he's not a very good option for a community tank. He gets massive. But a discus is great. You know, there's a lot of people that keep discus alone. But as long as you have them in the right water parameters and other things with them, like we said earlier, discus or any fish can be a very good community. Now, here's what I would say is that you would pick your display fish first and then kind of go around that fish. Now, if you're super into dojo loaches, or you're super into a specific kind of pleco, or you're super into, I hope you're not, but a Siamese alligator, like that's your fish, then base it off of that and do everything else around it. But I would find what you want and then create the tank around it. Now, of course, everyone loves plants, but today we're not going to talk about plants in the role of a community tank. We're talking about the community itself. And I think that whatever community somebody chooses to do is completely right, because there's so many options, you know? When we talk about options, I mean, these are all community fish. In there is all community fish. Over here is all community fish, you know? And even though your, how do I say, which ones would not get along? Your angelfish and your tiger barbs are not going to get along very well. Tiger barbs are great in a community with fish that they are not going to pick on. You know, you could have a barb community tank. You know, it's a strict barb only community. It reminds me of like a community that doesn't have any kids, or an old folks home. Except for these guys are absolutely. But in any case, I just always want people to do what they want to do. I feel like that is a huge thing in the hobby right now, is that everybody is listening to everyone else except for themselves. And I feel like if you are just listening to other people's advice on what you should do, then, you know, you're not really doing what you want to do. And so, especially in a community tank, I'm super passionate that people do what they want to do. I hope you guys' tanks are doing great, and I will see you next time.